Welcome. This is the UFC guy, and today I'm going to be talking about Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. So, what do we know so far? We know it's an 8-round pro boxing match with 10-ounce gloves in a 20 by 20 ring on April 17th, 2021. Firstly, I'm going to talk about Funky Ben Askren. Ben has an MMA record of 19 wins, 2 losses, and 1 no contest. He's been competing in freestyle wrestling pretty consistently since 2005. He shared the cage with killers such as Robbie Lawler, Jorge Masvidal, and Damian Maia, but we all know how the last 2 fights went. Next up, we got the YouTube sensation himself, Jake Paul. He has a pro boxing record of 2 wins and 0 losses. So, who has the physical advantage? Well, because Ben Askren is a lot older than Jake Paul, he's had more training experience. Now, because of the more training experience, I feel that physically, his joints, his muscles, everything about his body will be a lot stronger than Jake Paul's. Now, we know strength doesn't determine a boxing match. So, one thing that Jake Paul does have to his advantage against Ben Askren is a longer reach. He has a 76-inch reach, and Ben Askren has a 72-inch reach. Now, in centimeters, that's about 10 centimeters on Ben Askren. That's a very, very large reach. So, when he's using his jab, he needs to make sure that he's poking him constantly all the time, not letting Ben Askren get close to him. Because if Ben Askren gets close to him in the kick clinch, I feel Ben Askren will do more damage and be able to take more damage than Jake Paul. This is a key factor for their fight. Psychologically, both of these guys have it, with Ben Askren competing over 20 times and Jake Paul being a very, very confident celebrity slash boxer. It's going to be interesting who will get the psychological advantage before the fight. Now, one thing to note, Jake Paul's already started training with George Masvidal. Now, obviously, Masvidal was the guy to knock Ben Askren out. I think actually the only guy to knock Ben Askren out, which does say something. So he started training with him. One of Jake Paul's comments that he made on the Era Hawani podcast states that Ben Askren has never had a boxing match. And no, Ben has not had a boxing match. But being an MMA fighter for over 15 years, he would have trained in some sort of boxing, kickboxing environment. Now, that's a lot different to boxing specifically, because boxing goes so in depth on the types of punches, the angles, and a different angled ring. But saying this, psychologically, he's been in a ring with a crowd around it a lot more than Jake Paul. So there's pros and cons to both these guys on who has psychological advantage. But to be honest, both these guys are paid enough and confident enough. I don't think psychological advantage is going to come into this too much. On to predictions now. And Ben Askren has predicted that he's going to win in the 7th round via TKO. Jake Paul, on the other hand, predicts Ben will not even land a punch. He didn't specify whether he was going to knock him out, but he predicts he will not even land a punch. Jake Paul making these claims is clearly all for show and all to promote the event, which I think is fantastic. Although I have to say I doubt his prediction. The reason being is Robbie Lawler managed to land a lot of punches on Ben whilst he was on the ground, and he still managed to get up, get him in that bulldog choke. Because Ben is such a tough guy, I can see him not finding it too difficult to walk through the basic power that Jake Paul will hold in his hands from the basic experience of boxing he has. This is why my prediction of the fight is very similar to Ben's. I think Jake Paul will get whittled down by physical tiredness, and I feel like in the 6th or 7th round, he will give up. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave your prediction in the comments below.